someone had a question about the true Foster-Kennedy syndrome, and in particular, frontal lobe lesions. And so their question was, if it's a frontal lobe meningioma, why is it only pressing one optic nerve, causing the optic atrophy on one side, and the optic disc edema, which is from papilledema, from increased intracranial pressure, on the other side? And the reason is the tumor has to start somewhere. So the frontal lobe is here on this skull, so that it starts on one side or the other. It gets big enough to press on the optic nerve, and this is the canal right here. And then it becomes so big that it causes increased intracranial pressure, causing the papilledema on the other side. Now, of course, if you have a midline lesion like an olfactory groove, it can press both sides. And so it can be Foster-Kennedy from frontal lobe, olfactory, or sphenoid ridge meningioma in this location. But when the frontal lobe lesion starts, it's usually only on one side, and that's what produces the compressive optic neuropathy on one side. But because nothing else is in the frontal lobe that people notice, other than perhaps apathy and change in personality, then the increased intracranial pressure causes the non-localizing optic disc edema. However, if the lesion is completely midline, it will press on both optic nerves, and those cause things that aren't really Foster-Kennedy syndrome. They're either bilateral papilledema or they're bilateral optic atrophy. So those are different forms of the same process, but the Foster-Kennedy is usually going to be unilateral at first.